guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna go downstairs and we're gonna look and see how the gourds are doing. It's the 1st of February and they've had a couple of months, but it's been really muddy this year. And we've gotten so much rain that I thought it would be best if we brought them indoors into a safe place to dry. So we're gonna slip downstairs and we're going to check on them, and I'll show you the varying stages that they're all in. They're like human beings, everybody's just a little bit different. So give me just a minute and we'll run down and check on them. Okay, we're down here in the basement and you can see that I laid down cardboard and plenty of straw, and there's a couple of the really big ones, another one back there. But I don't know if you can tell on video, but these are still pretty heavy. And they haven't gotten very far into their drying process. These giant ones can take up to a year. But they are getting the various molds on them are getting in there. And I check them every day. I lift them up. Let's see if I can get him up. You can see that they lose a little bit of moisture underneath them. And I rock them a little bit every day so I can make sure that nobody's cracking on the bottom. You can see, like I said, every one of them is in a different stage. Some are a little more covered than others. And if we get down here, you can see those are particularly orange. And I wanted to show you this really crazy one over here. I don't know if I showed it before. It has cracks all the way through it. It did that while it was growing. And I thought it would be really neat. It's lost a considerable amount of weight, so it's getting pretty dry. But if you look down into the cracks, you can see that they don't go all the way into the center of the gourd. And I thought maybe it would be really neat to do a Nightmare Before Christmas or Jack Skellington kind of theme with that one. And put some stitches in it. Gourd. But come down here, and I have some of my apple gourds down here too. And you can see that there are a few of them that haven't really started drying that much yet. But there are also a whole bunch of them that have. This one over here is completely dry. You can hear it's dry. But you can see that it had a bit of a crack in it. And remember, you can repair that or you can work around it. It doesn't have to be thrown away. Oh, look at the markings on that one. It's really pretty. But they're in all different varying stages. It's kind of funny. That one sitting there is green, and that one's all completely covered. I brought you over here. I wanted to show you this one. It's a little further along in the drying process. And you can see that the molds are dying back and they're starting to come off. And it's lost a considerable amount of weight. But if you take these and peel them back a little bit, you can see what they leave behind in here. I don't want to peel too much of it off. I want to make sure it finishes doing its thing. Okay, I have a few more back here stashed in this alcove. Those are dry, and those are just about dry. But I have these stashed back here for a friend. And you can see in these in particular, I had to come up with another place to put them, so I brought them back here in this little alcove room. And they were some of the latest ones that I pulled off, so there's still quite a few of them that are green. But they're still all in various stages, too. But I think this one, yeah, this one's completely dry. That one is too. That one's still got a ways to go. But it can take a considerable amount of time for them to get dry. And it's well worth it. It's a game of patience. So you grow them 1 year, and then you dry them and you get to use them the next year. They've still got a ways to go. And it can take a good long while, especially with the big ones. And I know a lot of people saw how big they got when we grew them this year. But on the other side, the bigger they are, the longer they take. So it's just a patience and a waiting game. Hey, I'm outside now, and this is one of the smaller, big African drum gourds. And I left it outside for a reason. It was on the corn stalks, and it had been hanging, but it dropped. Let me show you what happened. The whole bottom of it came out. But, oh, you get a look up inside of it. That's kind of neat. They've come all the way through the skin. But in there somewhere is a mess of seeds. And the one thing is even though this is still a little wet, I did leave it outside just to see what would happen. And it did get the molds on it, and the top of it did dry a bit. But overall, most of it is unusable. But if the top of it continues to be in good shape, I might bring it in and use the top pieces. I don't know, maybe bases or something, cut little circles out of it and make bases for other gourds, or you could use it as a practice gourd. Or there are some pretty big spaces in here. You could probably make like an inverted clock where it comes out to you and you put the clock in the center of the divot. But we'll see how that goes. You never know. I don't tend to throw any of the gourds out unless I just absolutely cannot use them. And I brought you back here in my messy craft room to show you that if you're really, really patient and you take really good care of your gourds, you end up with lots of those wonderful things to play with and make all kinds of neat stuff with. I still have some birdhouses and stuff that I need to make so we can put some up in the orchard. But that's the end result. Those are last year's gourds. And don't forget, as you craft them too, to pull out your seeds, so that way you know that your seeds came out of gourds that made it all the way through that long, tedious process. Okay guys, that's all the footage that I have for today. Thanks for sticking around. I know it can be a long, drawn-out process, and growing gourds is a whole lot of fun, and crafting with them is even more fun. But it can be a long, tedious process, and there are a few things to remember. And if you do have to bring them indoors, it does help to have even just a small fan running, just to make sure that they get enough air circulation. And you want to make sure that you don't put them where they're touching. You want a fair amount of space in between them. That way, all of the air can get around them, and it will help them dry maybe just a little bit faster. A good bed of straw really helps too. It helps wick the moisture away from the bottom of the gourd. They tend to weep a bit out of the bottom. And remember to check in on them and make sure that everything's going good, because you can always move them again, or you can add more straw. Maybe even add another fan if you don't think that they're getting enough air circulation. But it can be a long, drawn out process, but in the end, it's all worth it. And then you got all kinds of cool things that you can make with them, which is my favorite part. But they are really easy to grow. and that would be my cat's playing outside the door. Sorry. Kind of lost my train of thought there. But maybe we can get it back in the station here. Anyway, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And don't forget to ring that little bell. It will let you know when we have new videos coming out. And leave any comments or questions that you might have. We like to interact with everybody. And if we have an answer for you, we most certainly will respond. And if we don't have an answer, we will find one for you. So, I hope you enjoyed today's video and listening to me ramble on about one of my favorite things. And I hope you have a really good day. And I'm getting kind of anxious to be back outside in the dirt and start getting more of these things growing. But have a nice day, and we'll see you in the next one.